What's going on, fight fans? So they just dropped, this was out of nowhere. They dropped a round table and I have yet to see it. So we are going to watch it together. There's going to be no editing in this video. So we're going to watch this live. Let's go.
Round table discussion with the who's who of the game. Of course, myself. Let's just stop and end right there. And not only that, but we've got the founder of Steel City Interactive,
Here we go,
as the creative director, Ash Habib, in charge of making Esports Boxing Club. We've got Will Kinsler, the director of global communications, and of course the IBF flyweight champion of the world, Sonny Edwards.
Let's see if we get some juicy news. Sonny, what's up, brother? And Todd, what's going on, man?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me down.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining us. I know you have certainly a unique perspective since you've been more hands-on with the boxing element of the game than anyone else. Ash, but let's start with you. It's been quite a journey since you were on your couch in Sheffield, England, with your wife and children ignoring you. You had nothing to do but to start this boxing video game. Where do we sit with the game today, Ash?
Thanks for that, Todd. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, you know, from the initial conversation with my eldest brother, Asif, who said, you know, let's do a boxing game. We kind of banded together. Asad, my other brother, came along. So, you know, the three of us started this journey right from the beginning. And, you know, from going to what we had then to what we have right now, you know, it's gone way beyond in terms of what our initial expectations were. You know, back when we started early, 2020, when we founded the studio. And, you know, back then, the vision about the game, you know, being gamers and boxing fans, you know, we just wanted a boxing game, right? So we weren't thinking about, you know, creating a game and having all the superstars in and the visuals that we have. We just wanted an enjoyable, you know, fun boxing game. And back then, again, the scope was, you know, we'll have a lot of fictional fighters, right? Maybe it'll be cool if we can bring in a few licensed fighters, and you know, we'll start small and then, you know, launch and build it out. And you know, what's transpired between then and now, just how the game has exploded, the partnerships we've been able to make, the upgrades with pretty much the entire system, right? So there has been a couple of resets between when we first started out to where we are right now. Because you know, ESBC was a game with a set scope and a set plan in terms of what we wanted to release. And every time the game grew in size, it was almost like we were bolting on this initial concept that we had. So you know, we had to make a decision of we need to essentially hit the reset button. You know, go into a refactoring process, which again, it meant taking a few steps back, right? But that was to make sure that we would be ready to build on what we've created right now.
Well, Sonny, you've been involved as far as putting on mocap suits. You've been scanned. You're there in Sheffield all the time. Talk about from the moment what drew you to the game and how much has it grown since you've been a part of it.
You know, it was sort of like a chance meeting through someone with me and Ash. We had a conversation that we'd sort of chalked up for about 5-10 minutes, and I think we were sat on the phone for about 2 hours, if not more. Just going really deep into it. It was sort of a passion of mine waiting to be found. I mean, going through schooling, sort of going into gaming and creating game was one of the channels I looked at before I was sort of pulled back into the
release plans and early access. They're gonna jump into that.
Yeah, so it's a dream realized, and to be able to put my 17 years of experience from, you know, the humble beginnings of the amateurs all the way through a professional career to fighting in the big venues and the for the big titles, to have that experience and to be able to concurrently sort of help guide, help mold, help
this is super
create
interesting.
A boxing game that not only is a great boxing game, it's got layers and layers and layers of realism, not just in the ring, not just in the fighting, but the stuff that's happening around the ring, the type of people you're gonna have there, the setup, the everything top to bottom from the game. And I've enjoyed being able to sort of give that insight, and the team are constantly, every time I come in here, I'm constantly impressed and constantly blown away by the progress. I mean, just today, you know, been shown some new things that weren't here the last time I come out, and obviously I can't say too much, but blown away, to be honest. Genuinely, the sort of the issue that I see that, you know, people watching from, you know, behind their YouTube screen, or whether they might get some ESBC content, and with their critical lens, every sort of problem that or area for improvement, as I see the game gets development, seems to just keep getting, you know, one thing wiped off, one thing wiped off, one thing wiped off. So I'm really, really confident and really excited that when this game does launch and when we get to that stage, that every boxing fan, boxing gaming fan, and even gaming fan will be enthusiastic and impressed by the game that we have already, let alone
And when it comes out.
Yeah, we'll talk more about your experience a little later on. And thanks
Oh, they're gonna show gameplay?
You like to cuss a lot. Way to go.
Only on Twitter, not in real life.
Not in real life.
You know, you've got a unique perspective. You worked on some of the biggest video games ever made, and yet you threw all that in the trash can one day because you believed in what Ash was doing, and you left all that behind and joined Steel City Interactive. Why did you make that decision, and what's changed since you joined?
No, I don't think it worked quite like that.
I'm a 15, 16-year veteran of the video game industry. I started working out on sports.
Fortnite.
And, worked on some other games like Gears of War and Fortnite.
Yeah,
and stuff
go ahead,
that.
say
I think
it.
for me,
Get your flowers, buddy. Get your flowers,
I'm a
Will.
boxing fan. I've always been hopeful, over the last decade that we'd get another great boxing game. And so when I started to see content show up about ESBC, I was like, okay, I need to keep my eye on this.
He was in the Discord early.
I hopped in the Discord, where it seemed
Look
like
at
there was a lot of stuff going on. And I found myself wanting to spend more time in that Discord and see what's going on with this game than I did, working, doing my job. So I thought that was probably a pretty good sign that I should see if there's a way to get involved. So, I thought I'd hit up this mysterious Ash character and see if I could get in contact with him. So
Yeah, this is so funny.
him on LinkedIn and said, hey, this is who I am and what I do. I'm really interested in your game. Maybe I can help out. I don't know. And we talked over a few months and figured out a way for me to get involved. And so I've been here about 10 months now. Similar to Sunny, right? I mean, I've been playing the game for a while, and for me, I was enjoying it on day one. I'm enjoying it that much more, today with all the progress that's been made, over the last 9-10 months with the game. So for me, it's really just an awesome opportunity as a boxing fan to be kind of close to the sport and be a part of that story of bringing boxing back to gaming.
Awesome. Well, hey,
we're getting into it.
This question for the very end of the
We're getting into it.
I'm going to ask you right now. Everyone, no matter what piece of video we post, no matter what we say, no matter what they say, this is great. But when is the damn game coming out? Ash, I will ask you right now. When is the release date? What do you got?
So whilst we don't have a confirmed release date, we are working towards an internal date with our own milestones, and we have a roadmap, to that end goal, right? We will be going early access in terms of launching this on Steam, and there's a few things that we've done to essentially get to that decision, right? In terms of
Early access is still a thing.
In people waiting for a boxing game. I include myself as one of the people that are saying, when's the boxing game coming out? But at the same time, we've just got to make sure that we don't cut corners and we deliver a really good experience.
Can we get an
And
early
at the same
access
time,
release?
one that I wanted to make sure we're able to nail, and I wouldn't be
Hey,
happy.
y'all say y'all wouldn't touch on this.
To release something that
Y'all wouldn't touch on release windows and stuff
So at the
until.
moment, as I said, there's some key milestones coming up in terms of us essentially nailing those to get to that early access window. And obviously, as soon as we've hit those, we're confident. We'll give that date. The last thing that I want to do, and look, this has been a learning process for us, being a young studio, in I guess trying to be as open and transparent as possible.
I love you, Ash. I love you, man. Don't worry about it.
Sometimes
I love you, but we need a release date.
Mainly in our case, the scope of the project is increasing. I think that's been the main thing for us in terms of we want to do so many things, and really it's about nailing down and really delivering an excellent boxing game without trying to do 300 things at once. So as part of that early access process, there's things that we're going to include, and then there's things that we're going to bring in as part of that early access roadmap. So things like career mode, won't be in day one on early access. That'll be a feature that will be
interesting.
brought in as part of early access, but not on
what about online? Online.
Because right now, there's a lot of focus in terms of making sure we absolutely nail the in-fight mechanics.
Online, bro, has to be there.
Online is going to be a very big part of this as well.
Okay, thank God.
From your experience,
oh my God, I almost panicked, bro.
Trajectory, but after an early release,
okay, online it will at least be in early
after
access.
A release, do you do a full release on either Xbox, PS4, PS5? How long does that generally take?
It really depends. I mean, I think there's no sort of straightforward answer to that. I mean, a lot of it is going to have to do with what our players say about the game and how they feel about the experience, right? One of the cool things about early access is that you kind of get to build the game alongside your community with the feedback that they give you. So Ash talked about, there's going to be features that will ship during early access, like a career mode. Some of those things may take some time. But I think, as we, get into that early access window and people start playing, we'll have a sense. We'll have some things that we'll probably communicate, like, hey, here's some features that we're going to deliver during early access, so that the people that are playing will have things to look forward to. And then, obviously we want to get there to that full release as fast as we possibly can. But to Ash's point, at the quality, right, that we is our sort of bar that we have to hit. We have to feel good about what we're doing. So we're going to go into early access feeling confident about the game and how it plays.
This is a bombshell. And early access is a thing.
Says and take it from there. But we're excited about it because doing it this way really does mean that people will get to play sooner rather than later, and we'll finally be able to get some of that player feedback that we're excited about.
Awesome. Well, you said player feedback. We recently hosted several big name gamers in the boxing community. They had some feedback. They had some concerns, some that we've already fixed already, including, I believe, Ash, was the shots to the body. They seem to do a lot more damage than shots to the head. But Sonny, in fighting, you'd rather take a shot to the face sometimes than one to the body, correct?
Oh, yeah, because at least if you get knocked out to the head, you wake up and can't really remember it. If you get done to the body, you remember every single millisecond of that's probably the consciousness is probably the biggest difference. But yeah, that's what I'm saying on that one, really.
So Ash, has that issue been solved?
Yes. So that essentially was a balancing issue in the game, and
Good.
in terms of the features and everything that we're doing and bringing in, that won't be the last balancing issue we'll have. Right, this will be an ongoing. Continual process of us fine-tuning, balancing, and with the help of the community as well. That's something that we're absolutely doing right now. But yeah, in terms of the overpowered body shots, that's being rectified.
All right. The creators also felt that stamina needed adjusting, that fighters could throw too many punches over the course of the fight. Will, how did the team feel about that criticism, and what's the response?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool. That one's well known. It's just another thing that there's a lot of
content creator gameplay feedback. Wow, look at that!
Damage,
how long that is.
Stamina. The body shot one was pretty obvious.
Weight classes,
stamina. You're
commentary.
Thinking about, long fights. How many punches somebody can throw. Trying to make that that it's not a completely out of realistic number of punches. And so everyone's just a moving target. As we play the game and make changes, there's just sort of like a constant checking of how do things stand. And so we'll take a look at that, and then of course when we get into early access, our players are going to have an opinion about where that's at as well. And it's just one of those things that
when you give it to the world is much better than 6 content creators, to be honest.
And what about the controls being more responsive, Ash?
Yeah, so that's some good feedback that we had around. I think specifically around the dodging, being able to dodge and essentially being able to do what you want to do instantly.
Yeah.
So we've made some changes in the game, which has made that a little bit more fluid, where that's no longer an issue.
Nice.
But I think
that's big.
An element of
dodging and punching.
Quite a lot of realism into especially our movement system. There will be a little bit of a learning curve for players who are used to maybe other games where the foot doesn't always plant, and you get that little bit of a floaty feeling where you can instantly just change direction.
That's true.
In ESBC,
because it's weight transfer.
Movement's a big part of the game. If you shift weight on your back foot, for example, you have to allow the player to move in a direction that's going to be natural to where he or she is currently at in the ring. You are not going to be able to instantly just kind of move unnaturally, and because the visuals are, we've gone for that hyper realism, we've really set the bar quite high in terms of how that movement has to feel. So we're obviously wanting to make it as fluid as possible, but there is that realism aspect where you're not going to be able to essentially make the boxer do things that they couldn't do in real life.
Yeah, what do you think,
Nice.
Sonny? Obviously, we want, as he mentioned, hyper realism, but at the same time, it's a video game. It's supposed to be fun. When you play it, and when you or have this motion capture suit on, and you look at things, how real does it seem, and how much fun is it as a video game player?
My experience with the game, from coming up here now, I've literally just been playing down, and obviously it's the most up-to-date version of the game that I've had my hands on. And once I've started getting my head around certain rules and certain mechanics, I found that I could really get to a point of boxing quite smartly, quite neatly. Anticipating, I think, is very important. I think it's where your fight is positioned to the sort of the tick, so when you time to throw. Like for me, as a boxer, as a professional boxer that approaches boxing from quite a wide lens, I like being able to break down and target different areas. I get a really fulfilling experience, like genuinely. Just now I was focusing on when he was coming, making him throw, moving my feet around, holding the ground, and as he was stepping into my range, letting steal shots throw, because I was getting too used to direction and everything, and that was getting my footwork caught up. And I think when I apply that to boxing logic, any fighter that is every shot stepping forward or stepping back or stepping left or stepping right, their footwork is going to be all over the place. That is logical. And for me, when you apply resetting, plant your feet, throw a shot that's at the right range, a jab down the middle, trying to step in, go body, trying to up and back. For me, applying boxing logic is how I get the most success out of the game. And for me, that
which is beautiful,
makes it as realistic as right now I can possibly imagine, if I'm honest. Because I don't get the experience where I can just get in the ring and throw a 17 punch. Doesn't matter when you're timing, when you're moving, if you're punching forward or left, and they all just sort of flow in. It's like, no, you're made accountable. If you start moving back too fast, there is going to be that split second where your fighter has to transfer body weight from his back foot to then be able to push forward to start going forward. Same way, if you throw a big powerful shot, there is that little cock that makes it a tell of when you're throwing a shot, because he's trying to talk his body into the shot. And I think all them little things and like planting your feet whilst throwing rather than just blindly always stepping forward, always stepping back, you notice the smoothness of the transition of punches, because again, it's more logical. I think once people get their head around that, it's not sort of an arcade bash 'em up style. It's more of a, I don't know, like the football game, the basketball games, where you've got to get the sweet spot of timing, and it's that sort of thing that creates the learning curve, making sure you're letting the punch go at the right time and moving your feet in the right space, using the ring, draining your opponent's energy, etc. I think
that's
no boxing will have
that's a lot
easier
of
time
other
coming
things
to
that I
grips
was
with
doing when I was
mechanics.
playing.
But I do think it's something that everyone will be able to pick up, get the hang of when you move, when to throw, and already I'm seeing a massive learning curve in myself and other people that I've seen playing it, and I don't think it's going to take too long for people to get the old boxing games that they used to in the arcadey style, and now into the new era of boxing simulation game that we have never had before, has never existed before. And I can't wait to see
And that's so true, man.
the response to it.
You get caught up with the
what I
fight
can
night
sit down and
reflexes.
play now, if I could burn up a disc and take it 20 minutes to my house, I'd be sat there until probably 5 o'clock in the morning until I sleep for an hour, training tomorrow.
That sound like me.
Honest, as open as possible, because me coming into this game, I'm a boxer obviously, but before that I've been a boxing fan. I'm a massive boxing fan, and I'm also a gaming fan to the point.
Yeah, Sonny's perfect.
surprise a lot of people to the sort of the game type of games that I've been to play. So yeah, I've been waiting before any announcement was ever made. Me and Ash had the phone call when the very first trailer that I think you've all done the best job of making sure no one can see anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking that's the first. I was on board before that even was shown to me. So I've been waiting since the probably as early as the the start of the game, and I'm being patient as it's the hardest thing to do is be patient, but it will definitely be worth
It's
it.
easier for you, Sonny. You get to play it.
Hasn't been
Stop
told,
it. You get to go drive 20 minutes and play the game whenever you want.
Some people, I think the game is going to get there at the perfect time. I think it's going to blow everyone away around the world, from the UK to America to Mexico to Japan, where we've got fighters and some of the best fighters in the world from every little hub around the world, and we've got legends from the same. I think the splash and the marketing and the noise that this boxing simulation game, Esports Boxing Club, is going to make, I think it's going to take the gaming world by storm. But what do I know?
Yeah, here's the world champion fighter. By the way, quick question just from me: who's your favorite fighter to play in the game? My personal favorite was Conor Benn, who's got an ominous look right over your shoulder right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was using. I was using him just now. And I can't lie, I've been using myself today, so I've been,
gotta use yourself, bro.
Myself, so yeah. But Ash was in control of him. That makes sense.
Oh, he tanked it on purpose. Hey, one other slight criticism, Will, maybe you can tune in on this, was the weave. Obviously, defense is just sometimes even more.
Oh, this was my criticism.
But there were some complaints that maybe they couldn't attack the right way out of the weave, and defense wasn't what they hoped. What have we done about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the weave is there's sort of multiple facets to that in terms of the sort of feedback we got. Me personally, I'm somebody that uses weave a lot in the game. I think we found when we saw the creators playing that they used a lot more slips to avoid shots than weave. I kind of use it a lot from like the edge of range just to get myself, that little bit extra out of range. I think some of the things that they thought about it could be improved is like one, the sort of range of motion.
Yeah, that was mine.
That's the thing that we're going to look at, and the sort of speed at which you can do that. We have to be thoughtful about it because we do want it to you not to be able to move in a way that wouldn't be realistic or true to life. So like there's sometimes a trade-off in games when it comes to like control versus what you see that actually looks right to you. And so I think maybe we haven't totally hit the sweet spot for that. And that's a thing that we need to look into. There was also a suggestion about being able to block low while weaving back, just that it felt weird that you could use block in all these other positions that you were in, but in that particular position you couldn't. And so that's a thing that we're looking at adding. And then the third thing,
I think that was Study's
was basically
complaint.
being able to throw punch mid-weave. So if it's one of these situations where
slip,
throwing a
Valdez, Oscar Valdez does
it. Weave to the left to get out of the way, basically, that you'd be able to throw a shot during the middle of those engagements. That's a little tougher piece of work. Ash might be able to speak to it a little more in detail, but it is a thing that we're gonna look at. We understand why people want it.
That's super important.
It makes sense. But anytime we add something to the game that is that way, we've got to make sure it looks good. We've got to make sure it
doesn't break,
right, that it doesn't disrupt the balance of gameplay that we already feel pretty good about.
Ash, did you want to expand on that a little bit? Also, some of our people in the Discord community are asking about the look of punches. Ash, I know I have a render of a game, and I think the punches look great. And then we got a new render, and some people thought they look better. Some people thought they looked worse. So it seems like we're constantly tweaking the punches. How's that look right now?
Yeah, so I mean, punches, how they look, obviously it's a subjective topic, but I think in terms of making sure that we nail punches is a primary component of the game, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it's a very, very important thing that we want to make sure we get right. And with the help of Sonny and other professional boxers who come into the studio and even coaches, right, in terms of how punches are thrown, to the point where we even got a physiotherapist in talking to our animators about how all the shoulder muscles work and body rotations. So it is a very important part of the game, right? And
so they're not playing, bro. People
constantly
think that they just
evolve
throwing up punches
and
into the
made
game. They're
big
doing a lot of
changes.
work.
I mean, you know, back a couple of years ago when we started doing this, you know, in a very naive way, thought, well, you know, you have a boxer in a suit, you do some motion capture, and that will give you the results that you need, and it doesn't really work that way. As simple as that may sound. So there's a hell of a lot of work that the guys are doing right now. So we have made, based on, you know, the feedback that we've had and what we also feel improves the game. We have made some changes to how the punches work. And you know, this is just going to be a continual process for us right now. You know, from now to early access and even post early access, right? We will be continually improving. And you know, I'm not going to essentially rubber stamp anything right now and say, okay, we're absolutely happy and delighted with how everything is right now. I mean, we're on the right path to get to that goal. So yeah, I mean, some of the changes around targeting with the IK in the game, in terms of, you know, how the punches are landing. You know, there's work to be done around reactions, because whilst, you know, a punch might look perfect, it might be the perfectly timed punch. You know, if the reaction is a little bit off, then that could have a negative impact on how the punch looks, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not a simple kind of, you know, button that we can press and hey presto, it's there. It impacts a lot of things, and obviously because the movement is such a big part of the game, you know, we've got to make sure that the punches also flow with the movement, right? Where, you know, it's not a game where you kind of both get to the center and just start throwing punches and just making those punches look good. They've got to look good, whether you're punching off your front foot, your back foot, if you're doing check hooks, you know, it's all got to flow. And one of the big things for me about ESBC and what I think is in a really good place right now is the combination work in the game. You know, I think it's a really strong combination system we've got, where you can go to the head, to the body, with power shots, with jabs, and finishing it off with, you know, punching out of range. And the fact you can do that, you know, in 5 or 6 punches in a very short window, that's the sweet spot that we wanted to hit. So yeah, we're pretty positive about how the punches are looking, and I'm sure, you know, we'd love to see what and hear what the community say when they see the footage.
Well, I know Sonny's been wearing the motion capture suit a lot. I thought we were just going to blame Sonny for the punches.
It's time to do with the computer in between, I think. When it comes to the punches, obviously I see a lot of feedback, and I think one thing's for sure, and I think anyone that's played the game will agree, when you're playing it, things make more visual sense to your eyes as it's happening. I think that goes without saying. When it's in your hand, it's probably more aesthetically pleasing than someone watching maybe a YouTube video, not seeing the inputs. Because one thing I will say is, when I was moving my feet, adjusting, and then throwing combinations that I typically throw, like a jab, screw shot, right hand, or a jab, left hook, right hand, or right uppercut to the head, left hook to the body. If you, again, applying boxing logic, if you throw the shots and the combinations that naturally work into each other, they're like the transition and probably the efficiency is smoother. Everything happens quicker, I think.
Yeah.
If you're putting an input,
then if you just do like a check hook, it's
right hook to the head,
you feel vulnerable.
Things that perhaps don't make physical sense as when you're transferring body weight, like natural movements, natural punches to throw. Then they start looking a bit, I don't know, maybe a bit awkward, a bit out of place. But if at the same time me as a boxer stood there and went to do step back right hook, step forward jab, and then check left hook, all moving my feet, there's so many moving parts, it probably wouldn't look as if a professional boxer had even done it. It'd probably look like I'm clumsy all over the place. So I think that's another thing people have to take into consideration. And when I'm trying to box like a boxer and move around like a boxer and watching the character that I'm fighting with, rather than I don't know, just sort of rushing what I'm doing, and I'm sort of trying to anticipate the opponent's movement and also the sort of combinations that I want to throw. You've got to kind of chain them in your head, because there's no, like, I don't know, you don't press a button and it presets a free combination. So you've got to, I don't know, and it gets to the point where you might time a move forward, let go, throw a punch, step back so you've edged back, throw a 2-punch combination, and then finish off with a check hook out. Like, I was trying to add layers, and anything I was really trying to do, as long as I was getting my time and the movement right, it was working and it was looking very, very good. So I think, I don't know, put the controller in my hand and let people watch me play it, and then I think all the
Of course.
This game is all about realism. I remember when I was playing baseball as a 12-year-old, I sat on the bench a lot, but what I would do,
Damn,
I would
you
get
suck,
dirt
Todd.
on my white pants, so that when I walked to my car, everyone thought I played and slid and everything. So it looked like I was a great player. There's been some complaints in the game that these fighters are coming out, they're already sweaty, they look like they've been in a fight already, they're too glossy, they're too shimmering on the camera. Will, do you agree with that assessment?
Todd just revealed that he's trash at baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I think we agree with it. You know, I mean, some of it is, you know, some of it too is right. I mean,
I played baseball growing up too.
Making video, putting out content, it's really highly edited together. So, you know, I think just about anything you've seen from us so far isn't necessarily like first round to, in sort of chronological order of a fight, because we are highly editing the videos that we put out. But yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty shiny. The art team agrees. I think it looks better on some fighters, worse on others, and we're doing a pass to make sure that it looks better. We agree with the feedback, and we're going to do something about it.
All right, and Ash, this one for you. A question about Canelo Alvarez. Some of the community asking if there's additional work being done to Canelo's model. Obviously,
damn, they're addressing everything.
For him fighting, we wanted to get that video out to coincide with him fighting Dimitri Bivol.
But now that they say early access, this is
winning that fight. His character looks
a big chance that we get this game definitely this year, because career mode ain't even going to be in it. So that means we really could get this game this year.
Our fighters where it's possible.
It just hit me right now.
So, you know, if anybody's got complaints about how Canelo looks, I suggest they take it up with Canelo, because he was scanned. He was scanned how he was looking. No, look, the thing, one of the complexities around, you know, doing this is finding time in fighters' schedules for them to take time out and come and be scanned. And you know, sometimes, you know, the scanned, obviously they may be mid-camp, they may be after a fight, straight after a fight, where, you know, the facial features there might be some slight changes. So, you know, we've looked at the feedback, and actually, you know, we've decided to make a few tweaks in terms of Canelo's model based on that, and again, it's based on
they listen,
essentially,
bro.
You know,
have you seen a company ever do this? This is what happens when you have a tight-knit, small company.
Like to hear the answer to this one. How many weight classes are we going to have, Ash?
So we will start with 8 weight classes, and then that will essentially expand as the game progresses post early access. You know, so it won't launch.
They're gonna
with,
skip
the
some
supers or the juniors, depending on how you look at things. They'll have the blended weight classes essentially. So, you know, your bantamweights, middleweights, you know, through to the heavyweights.
But no junior middleweight.
So that's essentially what we're going to be doing with the weight classes. And as our roster gets added, more and more fighters added into the game, then, you know, we'll start bringing in, you know, super welterweight, you know, super middleweight. Because, you know, right now it'll just feel weird, right? Where you'll have, you know, maybe 7 or 8 welterweights, and then, you know, you'll have 1 super welter. So we're merging those divisions together.
Well, that's good. That means 135 going to be lit, because everybody at 130.
And Sonny, how have you noticed, like, for instance, playing with someone your weight class versus playing as a character like Tyson Fury? Did the punches look better and the footwork look better on the smaller fighters compared to the larger ones, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think it scales down quite well. We even had like a little play about with the flyweight and the heavyweight and whatnot. And you can see the difference. You can see the speed. You can see the slight nuances. Even the punches might come out a bit.
Interesting.
You can definitely feel the difference. Like visually, you can see the difference. So it will just be how I guess the game scales the size, because obviously heavyweight fights tend to look different to a flyweight fight, tend to end different to a flyweight fight. So yeah, I think the whole big range will probably, you know, it'll be interesting. You'll probably see fans of the game finding a particular weight class that they'll choose to dominate, and it probably won't just be because of
135. Because it's Shakur.
Fighters in there.
No, it would be for me because of the fighter.
How they tend to like to play. If they want the faster, longer fights.
I like that though too.
A chance to go in there and bomb someone out over a couple of rounds. Probably more likely as a heavyweight, landing the right shots and more power behind them. And
I prefer the lighter weights, the faster punches.
You know, back and forward, people get put down, people get up in flyweight fight. So I think that will help find people in how they want to play the game as well, because the weight classes will see a difference as they scale up, and you can already see it in the movement patterns, the rhythms, just how quick they're moving in and out. So it's definitely.
Yeah, right. And there's been some questions about the commentary, which I can certainly expand on. But one of the ones is, will we have commentary other than English, Will? And if so, when would that perhaps be in? Maybe Spanish? Obviously, we have fighters all over the world, several different languages.
Yeah, it's a goal for sure. It's probably a longer term goal for us, though. I mean, when we talk about early access and we're saying, hey, we've got to ship features like career mode or creative fighter during that window, then
Bro, early access is good news, bro, because at least we're gonna get our hands on the game,
for us.
and that means
Is a global sport, right?
that almost solidifies that the game's coming out this year. That's almost a guarantee now. They're pulling out career mode. That's not coming in right away. Early access coming out this year. Boxing Fanatico.
In early access, which is pretty important. But yeah, it's one of those things where, over time, hopefully we can get to some of that stuff. And I think that's an important thing to know and think about as well. It's like, we've got to for us, getting to early access is a bit like getting to the starting line, right?
Yeah.
The team's been working on the game for some time, but we want to work on this game for years to come and support it, over time with additional features, fighters, things that make sense to us. And so, part of that is hearing about what players, care most about when we get into there. And some of that will inform maybe what happens sooner rather than later. But it is the sort of thing where it's like, if that thing that you care about so much about right now isn't there at the beginning of early access or even at the full launch, doesn't mean it'll never happen. Just means it may be a little further down the roadmap.
Well, when we talk about authenticity and realism, when I'm doing commentary, I did WWE Raw versus SmackDown back in, I want to say, 2010. And literally I would go into the audio booth and they would have sheets and sheets and sheets printed of lines that I would say. Like I'd say, Hulk Hogan hits him with a steel chair. Stone Cold Steve Austin hits him with a steel chair. And I would just bang, bang. It was thousands and thousands of lines. And it got so monotonous. And then they would put it in the game. It didn't quite piece up. There was different energy levels. But what they've done here with ESBC is basically I will go in and call a round of a fight with Sonny Edwards taking on Nonito Donaire or whatever. I'm just making a fight. I'll call that round. Then they'll go back, and the next time I come to a session, they'll have taken out 8 different phrases I've done. Like, let's say I say, Sonny Edwards, back up against the ropes. And they'll say, all right, say that phrase 5 different ways. So I'll say, oh, Sonny Edwards back on his heels. Sonny Edwards in retreat mode. Sonny Edwards going defense first now. Sonny Edwards being more careful here. So I'll say it tons of different ways. So when the game happens,
we about to get some.
Sonny Edwards back against the ropes. You can play Sonny Edwards 50, 60 times, and maybe you only hear that phrase once or twice. So it's been great.
Commentary gonna be fire.
Experience. It's very time consuming. And for the first time ever, Ash, as you know this, I lost my voice this week. I'm on steroids because they're called the Katie Taylor fight and then the Canelo fight. And in between, I had like 6 hours of ESBC, 6 hours of ESBC. So when I say this game is literally killing me, Ash, it may be killing me. Please get early access out.
Please.
Now.
Yes.
I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you.
So, hey, that's pretty much it, Will. If you can just maybe give us a wrap, maybe something I haven't touched on, maybe some more information that you want to get out to the public.
I mean, I think for me, the main thing is, like, this is a thing we're trying for the first time, this roundtable, right? We know that, as much as people are trying to be patient waiting for the game, they're also patient, like, waiting for us to talk about stuff.
Exactly.
When is this going to happen? When is that going to happen?
Correct.
I
Will.
think those times where we're able to talk more and show more are probably coming sooner rather than later. But one of the reasons that we're doing this, particular sort of format is that, rather than spending a ton of time editing video together and doing things that are really time consuming, we really just want to be able to get in front of our community, right, and have a conversation and talk about things that we think that our
this is perfect
about. So
no
I'd love
gameplay
to hear feedback in the comments.
doesn't matter.
What do people think of this format? Should we do this
Yes
again?
Yes.
Probably the type of thing we could do more
yes
than we can doing these sort of highly edited together videos.
No, do this easy stuff.
Yeah, basically let us know what you think.
Easy stuff just so we could get info.
Maybe we'll do it again.
All right, I want to thank Sonny Edwards for joining us as well. And Ash, I'll give you the last word, my friend.
So look, I think the the community has been great in terms of helping us, essentially along with the development, right? I mean, myself being a gamer before doing this, one of the things that I always wanted in terms of following a game that I'm looking forward to was like updates about what's happening, even showing some footage, some gameplay, and the fact that we're actually able to do this, before we've even launched early access, is something that we're passionate about doing in terms of bringing the community along with us, because we're doing this as boxing fans, right? So for me and the studio, we always love to hear that feedback in terms of what people think, what people want to see, and as Will mentioned, in terms of this format, if the community likes this, then
yes,
we'll look forward to doing this again.
All right.
Woo!
Thank you, everybody. Can't wait to maybe tackle this again and have more updates, more information. Until next time, this is ESBC.
Yep, we're getting punched in the face. Okay, so we don't have a release date. That is true, which is always a bummer. Ash, Will, it's always a bummer, but they've confirmed that early access will be a thing. They've confirmed that career mode is not in early access, and they, thank God, confirmed that online will be in early access. I get it. For some people, for career mode people, this is going to suck. But at least, I'm pretty sure you could play against a computer. At least we will have the ability to play the game earlier rather than later. With them confirming this, I can almost guarantee, with no career mode and online available, that early access will 100% come out this year. The chance that it would not come out this year in early access, in a much more watered down version, early access would be pretty egregious. If it takes till next year for early access, that's incredibly egregious. So I'm very confident that early access will be this year. So them saying early access is actually a good thing if the game was going to take longer than what we anticipated. If the full game with career mode and all that stuff is not ready to go just yet, the fact that they're letting us still get our hands on it is music to my ears. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. This was beautiful. They addressed every single concern, the punches, the glossiness, the Canelo's model, and all that stuff. They didn't talk about the ring entrance though. They didn't say how much would be in it, how much won't be in it. But either way, anyways, great round table. Do this every single month. Every single month, just a round table, nothing crazy. You don't gotta show us clips. You don't gotta do nothing, but just do something like this and let us know. Give us a little bit of update on the game. We love to hear it. All right, guys. Until the next one, I will see you guys. Peace out.